I called it. I called what Kiriya was doing. Admittedly, it was made really obvious by the Hyper Battle video, but I saw the signs and it clicked for me that that was how that was all going to turn out. Admittedly, I didn't call the exact phrasing of what Kiriya said, but it's still really damn obvious. So, no, there was no Exide last week, so there was no vlog on its content. I didn't watch anything else. I kind of needed the time for other things, like me going gaga over .acgu last recode, since I did special videos on that, on its release reactions. But anyways, we're back with Exide now, and gotta say, I did not expect Masamune to do what he did here. He essentially repeated what the Bugster's original plan for Kamen Rider Chronicle was, but simply expand the viewer base through this special event, pretending that normal players could defeat him to get the power needed to rescue everyone else. Now, say what you will of the Bugsters, but they were straight up front with everything, even when they thought they were lying. The people being retrievable from Kamen Rider Chronicle, that was true, they just didn't tell anyone how difficult it would be to actually do that. What the Bugsters did was stack the deck against the human players as much as they could, but it was still in the realm of fair. Technically, because, you know, like, they were doing the subversive tactics with the individuals actually able to fight them off or defeat them, and otherwise everybody else was just cannon fodder that they could take out easily on their own. Kronos, though, outclasses everyone. He doesn't need to do anything. He just needs to sit back and just wait for all of them to slowly come to him, but he's not doing that. He intentionally set up a situation where he would trick so many people into joining the game, becoming victims, to infinitely expand the player base when the situation was seemingly under control, seemingly manageable by his company. But it's here we see that the Bugsters and Masamune, neither of them care about the lies. They just care about their own supremacy. The difference is that the Bugsters want to earn it, whereas Kronos is simply, I'm blanking on the term I want to use, is simply, he's manipulative. He's stacking the deck against everyone and setting up a situation where, yeah, he's in control of everything and everyone, for his own, I don't even think megalomania would be the right word, but all of his business dealings leave him out on top. And in this context, it's still kind of surprising that Kiriya managed to full-on trick him in order to retrieve the Proto-Gashats. Like I said when I talked about the laser Hyper Battle video, this perfectly foreshadowed what Kiriya was actually doing, and that's the kind of foreshadowing I like, that informs an action before it occurs, so, well, you're not entirely... How should I phrase this? You see what's coming, but it feels like an earned action instead of it coming out of nowhere. Especially with what Kiriya actually said to Emu. It was a variation on, "get on board my lie." So, it fits perfectly with the two's relationship, where Emu understood the reason behind why he lied, and thus could see through the deception to the true him, and this followed through in this case. This episode is the debut of Exide Muteki, and as with most of the good Kamen Rider power-ups, like the ridiculously good ones, it's an earned power-up in that Emu, despite receiving the Gashat immediately from Kuroto, can't use it yet. Like Mighty Brothers Double X and Maximum Mighty X, it requires Genius Gamer M's powers to initialize. The problem is, since Emu reprogrammed Parad to no longer be able to possess him, he also lost the abilities of Genius Gamer N, essentially splitting that part of himself off into Parad, while also Parad retained the ability to torture Emu through the whatever link remains between them, and just the stress levels that can allow his Bugster infection to progress into full-on game over game, disappear into the 8th or game syndrome. So, part 1's the plan. Retrieve Parad, inject him into Emu. This requires Poppy contacting Parad so Emu and Parad can talk and get Parad to agree to being put in a bug visor so they can seemingly inject him into Kronos like they did Kuroto, only they would have a better chance at this because Parad is level 99 versus Kuroto's level X. Admittedly, it's a level 50 level X, but still a level X. So, much less powerful than Kronos. Looking back on this, though, considering that Muteki gives its user effective invincibility, it matches Kuroto's unusual obsession with immortality. And in this context, it more, thought I had to sneeze for a moment there. So, it informs more of why Kuroto might have programmed, the whole resurrection power to Dangerous Zombie originally with knowledge of his eventual end goal of game Deus versus Kronos and the final levels of Kamen Rider Chronicle. How would you control something like that if you are less powerful than the final potential bosses of your game? Make it so you can't be killed by them, and make it so that every time you die or obtain the death data from something, you potentially go stronger, as he never fully actualized the power of Dangerous Zombie because he never got the death data of the last two Bugsters. So, that's something interesting I didn't see before, but with his whole obsession with immortality, that makes more sense. Now, when they first tried it, this is around the time they tried it first. No, wait, I actually skipped over something hilarious in the progression of the episode. When they first tried to use Muteki, X-Side can't get it to trigger, so Kuroto uses it in his own gamer driver with his standard Gashot. He doesn't power down to level 0, even though he removes Dangerous Zombie. I figured that the Dangerous Zombie power is being maintained somehow in the form system. The real life reason is probably because they cannibalized the Genom level 0 costume for Laser level 0, as with exception to a chest plate swap and the head and the helmet, it is pretty much the same outfit. So, I like how they have this go down with Kuroto using Muteki, as how they do it is Kronos triggers his pause function, and right after Kuroto triggers Muteki, and it immediately breaks him out of pause so that he can hit the buttons on Kronos' belt, disables pause, and then he proceeds to gloat and waste up all 10 seconds as Muteki, for the other riders, since they don't have the power of Maximum Mighty X backing them up, only lasts that long. I presume it's due to a difference in power grade, or Emu's Bugster infection being the originating infection, or just the development of how they made Maximum Mighty X that allows it to have the power to sustain Muteki's power-up indefinitely, as opposed to everybody else that's left with 10 seconds with lesser grade Gashots. Or the Bugster Buckle. So, that's actually hilarious and leads to Kronos stealing it, thus Kiriya's whole part in this becomes clear when he's rewarded bit by bit with more of the Proto-Gashots, and he says that as his next reward he wants Muteki. Of course, Kronos, thinking he has the ultimate pawn all locked up while he's still trying to get Kagami fully on his side with how he's given him Title Legacy, Title Legacy doesn't work yet, despite it appearing in this episode. The idea presented for why is Hiro is still conflicted about things, and not being helped by how he has the woman he wants in front of him, and all she says constantly is, be the world's greatest doctor, which, in trying to get her back the way he has, is completely in conflict with that. His internal conflict is realizing that he may have damned himself for no reason, since pretty much what I was saying about the stupidity of his heel face turn before. The reason why he now has what he had, rephrase. What he has now, he could have gotten even better had he not betrayed his friends. Yes, he would have actually had Saki back full had he stayed with everyone else, and probably what is going to be shifting him back to everyone else's side eventually. Where was I? To initialize Muteki, I said this part already. They need to get, they got Parad in the Bugster Buckle, and they're preparing for that part of the plan, only for Laser to come in, interrupt that, cause Emu to power down, and pretty much leave them all at an impasse. Until Kronos foolishly gives Kiriya the Muteki Gasha to finish off Emu for good. And this is where it all turns on him. And I really like this reveal, as it was such a clever multi-tiered plan that you'd think they're going for something they already did, but no, they are actually banked on that expectation to completely subvert themselves. Parad is re-injected into Emu, either temporarily or permanently restoring Emu's ability to switch personalities between Genius Gamer M and his normal Emu self in battle, meaning he's not just relying on experience and the power of his Gashots, but the full tactical mind of his gamer self is back in full, and thus the power it brings to interface with the Gashots gives us Muteki. And I love how, in hindsight, making Hironobu Kageyama the voice of most of the Gashots is glorious, as, in my opinion, some of the best work Jam Project has done lyrically, compositionally wise, has been for the Garo franchise. Their opening themes, even their non-lyrical melody openings have been glorious for the most part. I'm not big on Yamamoto Sumono's opening themes, but so it makes perfect sense that for the ultimate culmination of Exide's power, which is a gold-formed body, to have its transformation jingle for that Gashot's power to be Hironobu Kageyama singing about a golden hero. Just so many good allusions from that. Muteki form itself. How do I describe this? It's pretty much the God Gundam, but with the Noble Gundam's haircut. You know, G Gundam references. I don't know. It also looks like Guy Shishio from King of Braves Gal Gaigar after he pulls on these tassels. Not exactly tassels, but they're strings of supercondenser batteries that enhance his cyborg body to be able to enter a high-speed hyper mode, which is pretty much just straight on Exide's abilities, with how it drives his stats higher than all but one rider, and increasing his speed to supersonic stuff. So I think we have though with regards to his supersonic speed, I think we have more of a actual trial kind of issue with him, whereas he has no time increasing ability, time dilation ability in and of himself, where his super speed is given by him actually moving faster than, not actually moving faster, being augmented to interact at a different rate with the world. Now, when Muteki, still more on Muteki's design. I like most of it. My only issues are the shoulder pads with how the star emblem, like, shoots straight up, so it's like, who's seen Kiru La Kiru? What's the older sister's name? Satsuki's Kamui transformation in Kill La Kill is, it's the same kind of imagery that's popping up with that. I think they should have angled it out a bit more so you can still have the extended shooting star off of it, but it would seem more like the standard extended shoulder pads you'd see of some of the more 90s Gundam series, since it's pretty much what you're going for aesthetic wise. Though it also makes the belt even bulkier, which has been a problem with most of the X-Side Gamer Driver stuff. It's a lot more bulky than I feel it needs to be, and especially in comparison to, say, Gaim, where even with the Kachidoki and Kiwami lock seeds, it didn't project out as much as this does, and it seems overtly bulky when it didn't need to be. Now there's an odd line of dialogue in here where Kronos is baffled by Muteki not timing out after 10 seconds, and X-Side saying his invincibility is as long-lasting as he wants it to be, meaning he's not likely to be defeated by anything except, like, god-tier threats now, since he's 4 or 5 times the strength of Guy and Kiwami in this form. Not factoring the god powers, mind you, just naturally. When I looked it up, it said 128, 128, 128, some variation of the speed thing, which puts him over Kuga Ultimate and Kuga Rising Ultimate in power tier, but not Super Rising Ultimate Kuga, who is a SIC Hero Saga new Kuga form that was introduced, I think, earlier this year. Yeah, he still doesn't actually outrate Kuga, and I think most of the high-speed riders can actually outdo him, as, you know, they exist at a moment of time, and I already went over the not actually speeding up relativistically thing with his actual speed. He doesn't have the reaction time to be able to fight that fast. So, my issue with this line of dialogue about Kronos and him fighting and it not timing out after 10 seconds is they're still in the paused moment. Time is standing still. X-Side has broken free of the paused state, but time is still frozen. So, that line of dialogue doesn't make sense with how they shot all this to be all of it happening in a moment where time doesn't matter. 10 seconds is infinite. It's like, I said in one of my previous vlogs that I thought how they were going to utilize Muteki's power is that it would just be X-Side triggering the invincibility for 10 seconds as a free action, and then Kronos going into the pause and trying to attack X-Side and unpausing and thinking it would work, and no, it doesn't work because you were all trapped in just 1 second of his invincibility, so you actually have to fight him without pause to even be able to be able to do anything to him, which I thought would be the less broken way of utilizing things, but not how they went with this. And how they present all of it, it's understandable why they did things this way. So yeah, Kronos is beaten down, but not defeated, because we still have the reveal of Brave Level 100 to get to next episode, when Hiro finally decides to make a choice. Especially since with how irritated Masamune has become with Emu and company's actions, that he's actually ordering Kagami to kill him if he wants his girlfriend back. But of course, as I keep pointing out in these things, that's not going to happen, because the only way to get Saki's consciousness back is to kill Graphite permanently, which he can't do by the rules of the whole Commodore Chronicle and everything presented about his contract in keeping the proliferation of the Bugsters going. So, yeah, we're still in the Catch-22 thing here, which I think is going to sway with the next episode, since the way Kagami plans to execute those orders is to go after and defeat Parad, after, of course, he splits back from Emu now, so they're not they're not cohabiting the same body again. So my question is this going to rile up Kronos, or by deleting the 2 remaining active Bugsters will that either trigger Game Deus and the end of the series, or will that get them free enough for... Like, would Kronos be irritated by Kagami doing that and thus getting what he wanted and leaving? It's like, I don't think he will like Kagami removing the stalemate in the way he is, or as at least teased to. But at least we'll be getting finally we will finally be getting back to the long abandoned subplots relating to Taiga and Graphite, which they've really not addressed on in a while, have they? Seems like he has a story arc in the series, and it's mostly been concluded, so yeah, they're teasing that they're going to kill off Taiga. There is an entirely a possibility that's going to be legit, and not in the game over sense. So, yeah, looking forward to seeing what's happening there. In other news, first few of the double reviews are done and ready to start releasing on Patreon in this weekend. They'll be a week later on my Daily Motion page. Trying to see if I can't get them up on YouTube straight after, like I have been a lot of my videos this year. But with content ID issues on YouTube, I don't know if that's going to happen. But yeah, that content's coming fast. And as apparently has been showcased, perfect timing, as the recent issue of Hyper Hobby magazine, where we usually get the teaser bits for coming episodes, coming movie events, and just the promotional stuff for the new forms and stuff, there is new double content coming. There was a press release about a press conference for new double content that they're teasing is going to likely be a novel, because they said it's not going to be a video production, but with how it was phrased, it could mean that it's not a full television series, or it's not a full movie. It's like, we'll know more in about a week or so. So, who knows that is all going to turn out as. If it's not an actual show, I'm kind of hoping it'll be a manga, like the journeys of Shotaro Hidari when Philip was gone, or post-series cases in the aftermath of the Dopant crime wave, or like whatever Shotaro is doing in 2017, 2018-ish, like we had with the Kamen Rider Spirits manga that I also have yet to read, despite, being something of the Showa Kamen Rider fandom guy amongst the reviewer circles. So, that's all I got for this week. Looking forward to Brave level 100, and I still want the Teta Legacy Gashad. When is that going on sale?